Hope all of you are fine and safe at your home. Students, in previous video I give you the answer of the portrait of lady, understanding the text. Now today we will do the exercise talking about the text. Now here the first question is, the author's grandmother was a religious person. What are the different ways in which we come to know this? Answer. The renowned author Khushwant Singh gives us a very vivid and detailed account of his grandmother. According to her pen picture portrayed by him, his grandmother was a deeply religious old lady. She hobbled about the house telling the beads of a rosary with one hand and constantly moving her lips in inaudible prayer. She used to sing her prayer while bathing and dressing the author in the hope that he too would learn it by heart. In the village, she used to accompany him to his school. She did so because the school was attached to the temple. She used to sit in the temple praying as long as the school continued. She was shocked to know that there was no religious teaching about God and the scriptures at the city English school. According to her, no education was meaningful if there were no teachings about God and the religious books. When she became aware that her end was near, she stopped talking to her family members. She devoted the rest of her last moments to prayers and telling the beads of her rosary. Only a true religious minded person can be aware of his or her approaching death. So much so that she breathed her last praying and telling the beads of a rosary. It fell from her hands as soon as she left for her heavenly abode quite peacefully. Question number 2. Describe the changing relationship between the author and his grandmother. Did their feeling for each other change? Answer. The author Khushwant Singh's grandmother was an extremely old lady with puckered face. She was kind-hearted and a deeply religious-minded, graceful lady. While portraying a pen picture of her grandmother, the author also tells us about their changing relationship. In the village, the author and his grandmother spent most of their time together. They were good friends. She would get him ready for the school, serve breakfast, and accompanied him to the school. From school, they would return together. But their moving to the city proved to be a turning point in their friendship. Although they shared the same room, the grandmother no longer accompanied him to his school. This was because he used to go to his English school by motor bus. As the years passed, they were seeing less of each other. For some time, she continued to help him in getting ready for the school. But she became unhappy when she came to know that she could not identify with the lessons given to him in his school. She was unhappy because she could not help in his lessons. Thus, the common link of friendship between them was snapped. She accepted her seculation with resignation. She devoted most of her time to spinning wheel instead of talking to anyone. I don't think their feeling for each other were ever changed. Though their feeling of friendship was curtailed, most probably due to the generation gap and changing attitudes, they definitely cared for each other. Question number 3. Would you agree that the author's grandmother was a person strong in character? If yes, give instances that show this. Answer. The author's grandmother was an old, wrinkled, short, fat, and slightly bent lady. She was a deeply religious-minded lady endowed with moral courage and convictions. Though she was not formally educated, she had firm belief about what was wrong and what was right. Though she had a deep regard and a strong bond and friendship with her grandson, she would disapprove of what she felt was wrong. She did not like the things which were taught at the English school, but instead of being a passive spectator, she would show her disapproval without any hesitation. She was not even sentimental. She went to see him off at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotions. Her mind was lost in prayer, which gave her ample strength. When he came back after 5 years, she was there to receive him at the station. Then the way she faced her death showed what a strong minded woman she was. She was aware of her approaching end, but she never showed any signs of panic or fear. Rather, she embraced the death calmly while praying peacefully. Thus, we can say that the author's grandmother was a person strong in character. Question number 4. Have you known someone like the author's grandmother? Do you feel the same sense of loss with regard to someone whom you have loved and lost? Answer. In our locality, there was an old man who was known as Bhagatji by everyone. He was also deeply religious minded like the author's grandmother. He always used to wear white kurta and dhoti. His wife had died when he was about 30 years old. Thereafter, he did not marry. He devoted most of his time in prayers. For a living, he used to sit at the shop of his younger brother selling ghee. He had no children of his own. Now, in thinking about language, students, there are questions. Which language do you think the author and his grandmother used while taking to each other? Answer. The author and his grandmother must be talking in Punjabi, their mother tongue. Question number 2. Which language do you use to talk to elderly relatives in your family? Answer. I always speak to elderly relatives in my family in my mother tongue. Sometimes we talk in Hindi also. Now, how would you say a dilapidated drum in your language? Now, in our language, we use the expressions tuta futa dhol for a dilapidated drum. Question 4. Can you think of a song or a poem in your language that talks of homecoming? Yes, I know a song in Punjabi which expresses the feeling of a wife when her husband, who is a soldier in army, comes home. She says that my husband looks like a lion when he comes home after doing parade. Sometimes he speaks English and sometimes he tells tales of war. Now next is tick the words in the box below that also refer to a manner of walking. So first word is shuffle, means to walk or move with a dragging motion. Stride, to walk with long steps. Waddle, to walk with short steps, swing from side to side like a duck. To walk with slow rocking gait, rock from one side to other. Paddle, to walk unsteadily with short steps. Swagger, to walk like a superior. Trudged, to walk or move along laboriously. Slog, to walk or move steadily with great effort or difficulty in the specified direction, especially on foot. So students, here we complete our thinking about text and thinking about language. So you have to write all the answers in your notebook and learn it.